And we can get going. Thank you all for joining us today. This is one in a series of our webinars about the elective roadmap to success. If you've attended other webinars from the State Library before, you know we like to know who you are and where you're from. It might be a little difficult to rename yourself in the webinar version, but if you can, or people are dropping their locations into the chat, that's really great. I will be monitoring chat throughout this webinar, so please feel free to add questions in there, comments, concerns, anything you'd like, and I'll keep an eye on that. Here's our little disclaimer about the content today. But we are here to talk about the elective roadmap to library excellence, specifically increasing community awareness. So today we will learn about how to increase community awareness, share best practices, and then connect with our colleagues around the state. So thank you all for taking time out of your busy days to join us today. Whoops, sorry, I clicked backwards. So the roadmap for increasing community awareness falls on pages 6 and 13 of our document that was created about a year ago. And this is something that you'll report on for your public library standards. So we did just do this. So luckily, nobody needs to worry about their standards coming up anytime soon. As we said before, we've kind of laid out the roadmap in two different formats. A more linear format with a chart with options on it, or a Carn style with the rock kind of forming a Carn for people to follow, with the outcome in this particular case being everybody in the community is aware of library services. So we give a lot of suggestions for this, but we also like to hear from libraries in their community what they're doing in their specific communities, because every community looks a little different. What everybody's doing might be similar, but it also allows for a lot of differences. So we invited some panelists based on their responses to the standards this year. And let me advance the slide. We have with us today Alina from Belgrade, Tiffany from Conrad, and Sarah from Miles City. And they will all have an opportunity to speak about their experiences and what their libraries are doing. And they'll speak in that order. So here are your libraries, beautiful photos of beautiful libraries. So we can get going with Alina and the Belgrade Library.
All right, I'm hoping everyone could hear me. Hello. I actually have just more recently onboarded. It'll almost be a year, and I've been fortunate enough to walk into a brand new facility. Our biggest focus is community awareness. Upon my arrival, I discovered numerous things, um, financially speaking, things I wasn't completely privy to. So being in debt as a department, not having an operational levy for the library, dealing with new legislation and budget cuts. So our biggest focus is making sure that we are cultivating relationships with our donors and the folks that were a part of this project, this capital campaign to begin with, and keeping that momentum going. A lot of this is credited the donors that we do have and the pledges that are still being fulfilled, and making sure that the library reaches total completion. We just finished our landscaping this summer, and we still have little mini projects within the library that we have yet to tackle. a lot of this is credited to the previous director and our foundation and our library advisory board, and making sure that we're keeping our donors in the loop, that we're sharing our goals and challenges to a degree, and the potential outcomes. These are our needs that need to be addressed, and this is what we hope to gain. We found that the more that we share with our donors and the more that we involve them in our decision making, and the more that the foundation participates in fundraising. We've already had our Give Big event, and then we're actually having another fundraising program / event called Look Who's Talking in October. The more that we involve donors in our decision making and acknowledge them at these fundraisers, have the foundation update their website, organize tours and meetings, promote them on our TV screens that we have in the library, on flyers, on our website, on newsletters, on plaques, on donor boards. The more motivated people are to provide input and help, and spread the word and garner more support. It's also something that I've found to be very valuable is educating your donors. So educating your donors on trends that are happening in libraries all around in the nation. So pulling up trends that, food security and food education, and what tools are libraries and other institutions seeking to implement. So one being, for example, we already have a donor interested in providing this for the library, but a Charlie cart. We don't have a space dedicated to culinary experiences, but we can make one and find tools to support that space for a culinary experience. Mapping out a plan, so letting the donor know this is the tool that we would need, this is the cost, this is who we plan on partnering with, these are the types of programs, this is the sort of attendance, this is the sort of feedback that we tend to receive. All of those bits of information, when you compile it and map it out for your stakeholders, that invigorates, that encourages them and motivates them even more to be involved and to better support the library. So education, including them in decision making. And it's not a one and done deal. We maintain these relationships. We keep our donors in the loop. We really value their input. Another thing for raising community, or for community awareness, I would say, is supporting businesses by purchasing locally, but it's not just purchasing materials locally for programs. It's also making sure we're not competing with local businesses. So when we do have for example, we're working on expanding our library things. And we actually just had a foundation meeting last night where we were going through all of the items and really figuring out, okay, is this an item that can be rented or purchased at a fair price locally? So we do not want to compete with local businesses. Is there a program? Is this an item where we don't need to purchase it? We could actually work with a business down the street that has this equipment, and they could come into the library and we can partner and promote whatever it is we're trying to pursue there. So um, so these were just making sure that we've already been uh, providing tours and working with our local businesses in the city and in the county. And some of the examples include Buffalo Restoration, Pour Studio for candle making classes. We're going to be partnering with this business. We're going to be paying them for their supplies. And in a way, they're helping us provide such a wonderful program to the community. And also we're promoting them in a way. So it's a win-win. We're bringing everyone together and creating a hub for people to convene and learn. And so those are a few examples. Marketing. We are fortunate enough to have a part-time employee who has really extensive knowledge on marketing. And we do have the softwares too to help with this. So not only do we have the expertise and the software, we also have we're doing our best to make sure that we're involved in outreach. So we're not only digitally getting this information out there, but we're also printing hard copies. We're also showing up to events like our farmers market or summer nights, as you see on the screen. And we're really out and about and really promoting ourselves in the old-fashioned way too. The city, we're using Canva. I just saw that, and Library Aware is also a great software. The city is hiring a communication manager as well, which would help with this, and press release is also incredibly a useful tool. Let's see what else. Including, we've been very proactive with surveys and comment cards and actually responding to our comment cards. So people don't feel like they're just filling out a comment card at the library and it's just going out there in the ether and no one's acknowledging it. We're actually addressing these comment cards. We're digitizing them, we're inputting them, and we're actually addressing any comments, positive or negative. We want people to know that we value their input. And sometimes, getting people to participate in surveys can be, I'm finding that more people are more interested in leaving a comment card than filling out a survey. So trying to be mindful about the survey that you put together, that it's no more than 5 questions if you can, and try to find incentives and ways to encourage people to fill out these surveys. Um, um, Again, it can be like pulling teeth trying to get someone to complete one of these. And something that I've also found useful that I haven't done here at Belgrade yet, but introducing the idea of community input can be done through passive programs, and it could be done through something as small as, it's National Ice Cream Day. Let's have people in the public, patrons that are coming in, vote. Let's have a board out in the lobby on vote on your favorite flavor of ice cream. This encourages engagement and shows that we value your opinion, we want to know what you think, and it can kind of open the door and encourage people to be more willing to provide input. So these are and the library also, we do our best to also our partnerships are very important to us. So we're constantly working together with our partners like Martel Construction, for example, 45 Architecture. We're constantly trying, when we know they're doing press release, we're constantly in touch. And so they'll mention us. If we're doing press release, we make sure to also mention these groups to show that we're united. We produced something really wonderful here. We want people talking. We want people involved. We want people to be aware of things that still have yet to be accomplished so that we can be more successful with our outcome. And, you know, we're also trying to do our best to you know, we're not just a city library, we're also unified as a state library system. And so if there are reading challenges or resources out there, staff aren't shy about promoting that. And by redirecting patrons to these resources that we might not offer, but that another library offers. So any questions?
There was one question, Alina, that just came in. If you work with the school.
If we work with the school,
Mm-hmm.
what grade level are we talking about? College, we're working with Gallatin College actually, certain MSU departments, and we've yet to truly collaborate with the high school, but we've been offering with the grade schools, yes, and we've been offering tours and sharing, doing outreach with the local grade schools.
Thank you for sharing and thank you for answering those questions. We will continue to hear from our fabulous libraries around the state. We have Tiffany from Conrad up next. And because you're turning on your video, I get to turn mine off.
I guess I don't really need the video, but hello everybody. Thank you for having me. I did put a couple slides together just kind of keep me on track here. But a few years ago, as we were putting together our marketing plan, one of the things we concentrated on, our marketing tactic was public relations and publicity, especially after COVID, when we were shut down for a while. Our services looked very different for a while. And we were trying to get back out there and get people to remember that their library was here, and anybody who was new to town, we wanted to make sure that we were reaching them. So everyone in the community is aware of the library and its services. Our first one, everybody is aware of the library. We're a small town, and every once in a while we still get someone who's been here for decades and says, I didn't know we had a library. And so we really wanted people to know that that the library was here, that recognize our staff, recognize our librarians, and represent the library outside of the library building. Part of this was also supporting the local organizations. What we did was identified 4 annual community programs that happen every year, generally lots of free aspects to the entire community. And so it was something that we could rely on that would happen in the community. And we would also be supporting those local organizations heading up those community events. So just by participating, we could say, hey, we're going to be part of this organization's event, come see us. And then all of these, we provide some sort of goodie or freebie to the community members just to, yep, we got this from the library, or some of them are kind of bigger, some of them aren't as big, but we provided the, prospective patrons and community members a little something. That was the PR portion. The publicity portion of that, every time we're involved in something like that, we're going to share it on our social media and on our Facebook and Instagram. And then we also do an annual wrap up, a year in review, and we'll remember all of these fun events that we took part in. And those go into our reports and minutes and things like that as well. Usually we find out that when we post on social media as part of another organization's event, they'll share it, or other people who also took part will also share our social media posts. And so other local organizations kind of expect the library to be involved, but then it just gets to more patrons, more community members, more viewers. And then generally at all of these events that we identified, the local newspapers there. So for those people who aren't on social media or aren't online often, it's going to show up in a newspaper article or a picture, something that we always look forward to. Am I able to change? Corey, will you change my slide? Thank you. Okay, wonderful. So for our first event, every year it takes place in June. We have our annual Hoop Up Trail Days. It is a community event that is sponsored by the local Lions Club. And it's a festival and rodeo. And on that Saturday, first Saturday of June, they have the Hoop Up Parade. So we make a point to participate in that parade. We always do a summer reading float. And so we are showing, showing those kiddos out there, hey, you got summer reading coming up. This is going to be a lot of fun, reminding people that we're there. We are also kind of interact with the other organizations too. The Lions Club and Chamber of Commerce put a float contest together, and so the other people are checking out everybody else's floats, and we've been lucky enough to place a few times, so it's been kind of fun. And naturally, the goodie that we hand out, we throw out candy. It's a parade. We throw out candy to everybody on the side, and that one's a lot of fun. All right, our next event in August, National Night Out. The city and county local governments, as well as the first responders, emergency responders, put together this event in our park. The first year, well, we just kind of went and attended, and we saw all of these people with different booths out there. They had swag, they had snacks, they had goodies. And we thought, what is something that we could offer that's not being offered here? And so we decided to do face painting, and it has been super popular. We have a general library booth out there, so when people are standing in line, and they do stand in line, I think this year we had people standing in line for an hour and a half to get their kids' faces painted. We have a lot of good feedback from this. A lot of kiddos and adults really come through and get their faces painted, and this one's a lot of fun. The next one that we do is the Chamber of Commerce Trunk or Treat. They started doing an organized trunk or treat on Main Street a few years ago, and so we decided that we wanted to go ahead and participate. We always choose a book, a fun theme. We go out there, again, we hand out candy. This one's a lot of fun. I was particularly partial to our Alice in Wonderland trunk, but it wasn't until last year when we did the Very Hungry Caterpillar. We had so many little kids come up and just say, hey, Mom, look, they have my book. That's my book up there. And so it was kind of fun reaching the people that we haven't seen yet in the library, and see them get excited. So that's a good one. We are planning on doing Curious George this year, so we're pretty excited about that. And then finally, our last event in December. This is the one event that has been going on for decades. The city and Chamber of Commerce plans a Christmas stroll for the local businesses every year. And the Conrad Public Library has been putting on a Christmas recital during this stroll for many, many years. And this one is usually the kids who take private music lessons, something outside of a school band or something like that, that don't necessarily have a place to, or an opportunity to perform in front of people. And so our foundation actually started this and said, hey, let's have a Christmas recital. And so every year we hold this before the actual Christmas stroll starts. And so those music students have a chance to come showcase what they've been working on, play some holiday music. It started out as just a piano recital. We were lucky enough to have a stage and a piano. But it has gone, we've had singers, we've had guitarists, violinists, all kinds of different musicians have come to share. Naturally, when we have have kids and young students perform, their families come and they're able to see them. But since this has been going on for such a long time, we have community members that remember this and do show up every year. We also have many people from the assisted living facility come attend this little holiday music recital. They're not necessarily able to stroll the stores and take part in some of the other events going on that night, but they can come to the library and listen to some music for a while. So this one I can't take credit for. It's just it's very popular and with everyone of all ages. So those are the 4 community events that we make a point to participate in. And we have found that our library staff is becoming recognizable in the community. And a lot of that is, a student in school who sees our youth services librarian visit the school and read, says, hey, mommy, look, there's Miss Liz. She's dressed up as this year in the trunk or treat or whatever. And we are reaching new people and just making them aware of the library, hopefully moving them to the next step of, hey, this is also what we can offer you. And then at the end of the day, all of these are fun. These are good for staff morale. We get to be a little bit creative. We get to have fun with it. Naturally, we know exactly what we're going to be doing next year for all of these. We have ideas, and it's more than just public relations. It's good for us individually and as a library team as well. So that's what we do.
Thank you, Tiffany. Sorry, my computer's being kind of slow on the return to video. We have a lot of comments there about your creativity, including one asking if you're hiring, but we did have a question about your staff. If they're paid for these extra activities that fall outside of their, normal work hours or volunteer, can you share with us how that works?
Yes, we a lot of the decorating and stuff we do during the library hours, operating hours, if we have time. We put in a lot of work to it, but it's not stuff that takes away from a lot of our tasks. As for the actual events, we do comp time, and so yeah, for those who are paid hourly, they get comp time. If they're at this event for a couple hours, then they'll be able to take that out of the next week or whatever.
Thank you for answering that. Our last presenter today is Sarah from Miles City. So I will advance the slide and we can talk about some of the things going on in Miles City to increase community awareness. Thank you, Sarah.
All right, thanks, Corey. That's a tough act to follow. I love all of that from both of you. I'm frantically taking notes over here. So I didn't give my whole slideshow, so I'm going to be kind of reading a little bit of notes here that I have. So what we focus on in Miles City is that the more connection we have, the more relationship building that we do, that increases our awareness. We don't have a friends group right now, and we have a a pretty complicated relationship with the foundation right now. Something that I inherited, and we're working on that, but we have to take what we do for community awareness right from us in the building. So I think it was Tiffany that mentioned, recognizing librarians for what they do. And we also do that too. We give our librarians a certified librarian name tag when they achieve their MSL certification. Of course, it's voluntary, but we're at 100%, so that's super cool. And well, 199.5 maybe, because I have a half-time employee right now that I didn't have before. And we celebrate any sort of success, completing a long training program or, the certification process. We do that in our column in the local paper, which we have once a week. We put it on socials, on the website, and I always bring it up at city director meetings, or we'll celebrate at city council too, to kind of keep us in the conversation. The next thing, let's see what we have. Okay, so this is kind of a recent project that we have been invited to participate in, and this really hits with our making connections with people, our goal, our ultimate goal. So we were approached by the Downtown Art Walk, which recently received a really large grant, and she asked if we would want to participate in some of their installations, and that's a no-brainer for me. So she had a bunch of teens put together. First, she went to the metal art, some welding students, and asked them to create something. And we all met, and they got paid for their time. They undersold themselves, and we encouraged them to, charge what you're worth. And these are just a couple of our examples that we just installed this metal stuff today, right on Main Street. We have a pretty great location on Main Street, and we're right across from the courthouse. We're right at a corner with 2 stoplights. It's not the only 2 stoplights in town, but we have a great location. So you'll see one of Tegan's pieces here. He's a freshman at the high school, and he has this very whimsical and amazing, awesome bird. It's about 3 or 4 feet tall, and it's made out of just junk pieces. And grand champion at the fair, that's where it was displayed originally. And he also made a little junk supply cat who's also installed. And then if you look on the right side, that's Paige. She's currently a freshman. She made this when she was a senior, and she goes to school in Texas. She made this insane metal piece. It's so heavy, we had to have a welder create a base for it and dig it into the ground. It's horseshoes, horseshoe nails, and it's this big, beautiful flower. And I should mention the space where Tegan's bird and cat and Paige's big flower, we also have another set of flowers that a young girl named Tylee made as well. These all go in a, right on Main Street. We have this awful weed garden that is going to be covered here soon, but right now it's just dirt. And so this is a huge priority for us. When things happen on Main Street, especially when there's a stoplight and people are stopping there, people take notice. And we have been out there pulling weeds, adding these metal arts, and then of course sharing the information about these everywhere all the time. And then just kind of, not really word of mouth, but word of social media. So if we share it, then the chamber shares it, then somebody else shares it, then Tegan's mom shares it, then the director of the Downtown Art Walk shares it, and it goes crazy, and people think, oh, we have a library, because yes, I feel that as well. Then the one in the middle is so cool. That's about, I think it's 8 feet tall and 16 feet wide. It goes on a side of our wall that unfortunately covers up the original Carnegie, which you can see in the background. The high school art club was approached by the Downtown Art Walk to create a mural, and they voted and chose Dr. Hilleman, who is a Miles City native, born and raised here. He's a ranch kid. He's a Montana State alum, and he developed not all, but a ton of vaccines. And I'll talk about that in a second. MMR, diphtheria. He's a virologist. He was a virologist, and he worked on developing these vaccines and is credited with his work saving millions and millions of lives at a time when it wasn't as controversial. Oh, thank you, Colette, for putting that in there. So the art club took this picture, painted the portrait, and all of these things you see are representations of the diseases that his vaccines helped eradicate. And what's not on there now on this picture is in the right corner, there's a QR code that will take you to a little 5-minute YouTube video about him. He's unfortunately not very well known, but he absolutely is a guy who made a lot of difference in a lot of lives. And I have had several comments about people who have learned about him and say, well, that's pretty controversial. And so I kind of had to develop a PR statement that, you know, this is a man who dedicated his life to research and learning. And what better place to celebrate somebody who does that than at a public library? He obviously spent a lot of time in our building, and we're really, really proud of this mural. We had a local electrician donate some special lights for it, so it's lit up at night. And it's just it's a really cool piece that we have. So I guess the connections piece to this is making connections with local artists. We love celebrating youth and their contributions to art. We have a mural inside that a local young artist, she's the same age as Paige, that she created in our teen area. We have a lot of very amazing murals going up around the community right now by adult artists. So we are so excited to celebrate our kids. We're making those connections. And when kids get to display their stuff, they bring their homies to take pictures by it. And those are the people that do not come to the library. So when teens start to become aware of what's going on at the library, even if they just take a picture with Tegan's crazy bird, who doesn't have a name yet, but we're working on that. So I guess the moral of this story is that when you go big with stuff, people notice, and especially when you kind of take advantage of your location as well. The next slide, I don't even remember what I sent you, Corey. Perfect. Democracy Project, which I know a lot of you are familiar with. But like I said just a second ago, that this brings library awareness to a group who never, ever, ever comes into the library because they don't need to, they're way too cool, they don't have time, whatever. I don't really care what their reason is because my job is to encourage them to come here. So this last year with the Democracy Project, which comes from Humanities Montana, I worked with the high school advanced English class. So all of these kids were seniors. They just graduated in May. And they have a civic project that they get to decide what to do. And they decided that they wanted to kind of work with the culture within their school. So they yes, Democracy Project still has funding, and oh my gosh, this is amazing. We're so grateful. And the current seniors are desperate to get started because they want to do this project again. So this started as they want to do announcements, and it evolved into kind of this incubator of ideas about and ways to talk about change. And so they created this video cast that aired weekly at the school. They had an Instagram channel, and it was a YouTube page as well. 100% done by them. I took some pictures. They were so competent, and these are just a couple of pictures. Incidentally, these two girls in the larger picture, young women, they were voted by their classmates as most likely to be influencers, and they strongly felt that that was part of their democracy project, because they totally took that and ran with it. And it was amazing because neither of them wanted to do it to begin with. So we're building connections. When I am in the school, I have the benefit of being a lot of high schoolers' former teacher from when they were in middle school. So I love to have my library hat on at that point, so I can tell them something about the library, and I can make them aware of, hey, check this out, or are you planning to babysit this summer? Come check out our summer reading program. I tell them all the time, we do free printing for students. If they need to print something for school, it's free. And then every time one of these students who participates in this project is asked about it, they reference the library. They say, this is from Mrs. Peterson, because they still call me Mrs. Peterson, which is weird, but awesome. They talk about the library, and that puts that idea in people's brains that yes, we do have one. Yes, we are way more than just having boring books, but we have tech supplies that you can use. We have a place where you can do it. These pictures are at the school, actually, but we are so much more. So that's what I really wanted to showcase with the Democracy Project. Did I send you any more slides? I don't know that I did. So a couple other things that I want to very quickly talk about is some of the other places that we really work for in our small town to make connections with people. We work with our local public health. They provide us with cold weather gear in backpacks to give away to people. They have a marketplace navigation specialist who comes here once, excuse me, once a week. We host Alzheimer's support group, writers group. We're starting a book club. We have a recovery group that meets here. A homeschool support group meets here. We have a lot of things coming up, and the more people start associating the library with these cool things that we do, the more they're aware of who we are, where we are, what we do, and we're relevant. And the more people know about us and the more people participate and talk about us, the more relevant we become. If I have time, I have two super quick stories. So about making connections, and I think this was definitely highlighted with the other two panelists too, is that we don't ever be afraid to ask to make a connection with somebody. Just put yourself out there. If they say no, whatever, there's other people who are really wanting to make a connection. Always share those success stories. I had these are two farmer stories. So I had a guy who spends a lot, and I mean a lot of time in the tractor. And randomly, his wife was talking to me about how much he spends on audiobooks through like Audible. And I said, oh, do I have a deal for you? And we hooked him up with a library card, and he showed me his Libby stats like last week over Labor Day. And right this year, he's saved over $700 this year in audiobooks. He's listening to 4 or 5 easily in a month. And that's such a success to, especially in our community, and people are, I don't have time to read, or I don't like books. Ryan, this farmer, he's saving money, he's reading, and he's super excited, and he says he tells everybody. So great. Also, I want to stress that no collaboration that we ever do with anybody is ever insignificant when it relates to library awareness. We were at an ag appreciation banquet on Saturday, and the most delightful couple was there. I think the gentleman said he was 83. And after I got to talking with him and his wife, she said that she had no idea that the library still got so many users. And that was just really encouraging. Just another connection to make people aware of who we are and what we do. And also be bold. We have some very bold ideas that were talked about today. A lot of put yourself out there type things. I love it. I can't get enough of that. And get more money. If you want people to be aware of you, just get some more money. But I mean, Alina was talking to donors, summer reading program, grants, all of these things that we do, I don't know, are just so important, and take risks.
Thank you, Sarah. I
Yes.
think that was a really impactful story, and a really great way to and wrap up the different stories and examples shared here today that impact. And that's just the one impact that we've heard that somebody said directly to you. There's so many impacts that we don't hear from people. So we have just about 10 minutes left today. We'd love to hear more questions. I don't think any questions came in during that, but Clay dropped some great links in the chat, especially about the Democracy Project, the way the Montana Library partners with the Montana State Library partners with Democracy Project, and the fact that they're still going from Humanities Montana, so they're a great resource. If you all have questions, now's the time for them. We also, of course, love to share our upcoming events. There's a few more roadmap webinars in October and November. And then in September, we have a few more legal topic webinars lined up with Chris Goss. So you'll get a reminder from us. We promote them as much as we can, but we definitely love to see you all there and hope that you get a lot out of these. There's a question in the chat for our panelists. What is a good idea on time commitment building the partnerships with the schools? Well, that's a really good question. Would anybody like to speak to that?
I have something that we're working with this right now, Adam. This is Sarah in Miles City. We have a private school who has reached out to our children's librarian who wants to come and bring all students at an hour at a time every Friday. And I talked to him because I was very concerned that he wanted something very specific activities or things for his students. And I couldn't do that because I need the children's librarian to be available for all patrons, and I don't want it to be exclusive, and I can't pay for it, and neither can they, as far as supplies. So we have a very specific time and are very clear about, you have 35 minutes at the library, and here's what you're doing at the library. And so we have a timer when they're here that, okay, the timer rings. If you're checking out books, this is the time. And then we have a cutoff. Same thing with going out into the schools when she visits schools, very specific time. And the same way when I'm at the high school, I want to spend all day with those kids. They give me life. But it's got to be under an hour. Nobody has attention spans. Teachers probably want you to be there more. Every teacher wants their students to use the library. But I don't know, I would say the shorter the better with older kids, because their time or their attention spans are very short.
I would add, organizing in advance can actually just really help with time. Something I've done in the past at the start of the school year, you could work with schools and offer, self-guided tours, and actually in advance send out to the teacher a paper form for library cards so that the teacher can have all of her students in the class. If they don't have a library card, they can fill out these forms, take them home, fill out these forms, have their parents sign it, give it back to the teacher. That way we can input this information into the system in advance, so that we don't have to deal with a long line of library card signups and questions and parents and all of that. And then I've also set up carts in the children's room, just because large masses of kids that come into these rooms will start pulling books off the shelf and, have a tendency to leave a mess behind. So having these carts set up for pulled books, and having the teacher making it clear in advance, once the student pulls the book, please have them place them on these carts. But I would say organization is key, and thinking about these little things in advance.
I 100% agree with that. We promote teacher library cards for their classroom, and the teacher, it's worked super great that those books stay in their classroom. The teacher is responsible, so they work pretty hard to keep that book in the classroom. And I've had, kids come back. We don't allow kids to sign up for library cards when they're here on a visit. It's just too chaotic. And we also set up carts too. Anything you can do to prepare beforehand.
As far as relationship building and partnership building, it's not always up to you, or not really up to you at all, but we have always been lucky enough to have a connection with the public schools through the library board or the school board. We currently have our middle school English teachers on our library board. And so just having some of those shared organizations help those ideas flow a lot quicker between the public library and the public schools. And it just makes collaboration a lot easier to identify.
Thank you all for that input. Adam says thank you in the chat as well. Sorry, webinar, you guys can't unmute yourselves. Were there any other questions or advice people are seeking, or circumstances people want to chat around, anything along those lines? Awfully quiet. Colette has dropped the evaluation form in the chat. Please, we love data at the state, and we love to hear from you about things that you like, things you'd like to hear more about, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Thanks everybody for participating in the chat. A huge, huge thanks to our panelists today for taking the time, and a big, big thanks for everybody for coming to attend and learn and be inspired by your fellow librarians around the state in the increasing community awareness realm of the roadmap. I'm glad everybody found good ideas out of this and is leaving feeling refreshed and invigorated. I will stop talking because otherwise I will talk and say the same things over and over. Thanks, everybody.